On today's show, we're joined by LA Clippers forward PJ Tucker to discuss the Olympics, the Rockets-Warriors rivalry of a few years ago, the Bucks title run that he was a part of, playing alongside James Harden, Ty Lue's coaching, his Clippers role, and so much more. It's all coming up on today's Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. And as always, thank you so much for making Locked On NBA your first listen each and every day, whether it's on your way to work, on your lunch break, in the gym. Thank you for being an everydayer. Joining us now is a very, very special guest forward for the LA Clippers, the sneaker king, the Shuru NBA champion, PJ Tucker. PJ, look, we're incredibly excited to have you on the show with us. Just how's your offseason been so far, man?
Yeah, it's been amazing, man. Just hanging out, staying healthy, staying in shape, staying healthy, but just relaxing and having a good time.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's start with a little backstory here first off. Look, you've worn a few different jersey numbers throughout your NBA career, but it seems like you always go back to number 17 when it's available. What's the story behind that number?
That's funny. My number has been my motivation throughout my career. I started out as number 1 in Toronto, and that year, my rookie year, I played in 17 games of the 82. So when I came back in NBA after a few years being in Europe, one of my friends who was trying to pick my number when I came back when I was on the Suns, one of my boys was like, do 17. He's like, 17? I'm like, why 17? He's like, you played in 17 games your rookie year. And so as soon as he said it, it just like lit this light bulb in me. And it's been my motivation ever since. It's funny, 19 years later, I still use the same motivation, even though now, obviously, it's not the same situation, but I still use that as motivation to keep going.
No, that's a really cool story. I love hearing why certain guys pick the numbers they do. There's almost always like a good motivational reason behind it, so it's always cool to hear. Now, I got to ask you, if you're watching along with us on YouTube, you've got the backdrop behind you. Where are we recording this from? We know you're the sneaker king. You got all these sneakers lined up behind you. Where are you right now?
I am currently in Philadelphia, my home in Philly, I call it my sneaker closet, but it's not really a closet. It's more like a old living room / dining room.
I love it. I love the back. It looks great. It's a nice backdrop. I got more about the sneakers a little bit later because it wouldn't do it justice to have the Sneaker King on with us and not ask you a little bit about your epic shoe collection. But let's get first. The Olympics just concluded, right? The USA brings home their 5th Olympic gold medal in a row, but it kind of felt like they were pushed almost to the limit, right? By Serbia, France, some really impressive basketball being played between these countries. You yourself, you played internationally, early on in your career. So I'm curious just how you feel basketball has kind of grown on the global stage since your time overseas.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. Like I said, I've been in the league 20 years now, playing professionally. To see if you look at the top, look at the All NBA first teams, like 4 foreigners. It's really become that. There's so many different guys coming from Europe, all over the world. Actually, every year you see new guys from all these different countries coming in. It hasn't always been that way, so it's fun. It's interesting to see. The growth of basketball around the world. And I think it's just going to continue.
A couple weeks back, talking about kind of the Olympic play and everything, Kevin Durant he got into it a little bit on social media with some fans, talking about the beauty of basketball and not, it being about calling set plays, but letting the talent and the randomness kind of dictate, the game overall and kind of embracing that aspect of the game. Can you give us a little insight into kind of what he meant behind that?
I think it's different ways you can take it. For me, I think he's saying when you got great players, you kind of just let them play. All these guys really know how to play at the highest level. They have great basketball IQs. They know what's going on. They know situations. They know when they need to get, a better shot, or they know, we need to pick up the tempo, whatever it may be. Guys just have a good feel for the game. And when you let guys like that be able to play and connect on that level, I think that's where you get kind of the highest form of basketball. And I think, my personal opinion, my take on this is that's what he's saying.
Now, of course, taking that into consideration, there were a lot of moments throughout this Olympic run for Team USA where that talent was very clearly on display. What was maybe the best moment or the best play in your eyes from this most recent gold medal run?
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm gonna totally take this to left field where you're not even thinking about being on Instagram and seeing all this stuff on social media. I think people talk more about Jason Tatum not playing than they talked about anything else. And I just want to say and go on record saying that is the best thing that happened throughout this whole Olympics, is watching Jason Tatum continuously be a pro. This guy just won an NBA championship. He's first team All-NBA, one of the best players in the world. And he literally he hardly played in the Olympics. The sacrifice he took, and watching him sit on the bench, being in that situation, seeing that guy, being that guy, incredible. I can't even put into words how much respect I've grown to have for him. Not speaking out and talking down on coaches, not pointing fingers or playing the blame game. He took himself out of it. He was a teammate. He was there. He's available. He's ready. He cheered. He embraced his teammates. He smiled. He had a great time. As one of the best players in the world, for him to be able to do that, to be able to sacrifice to win a gold medal for the country, I think that is a testament to everyone. And even with all the jokes and all the BS that goes on online, that was my biggest takeaway from the Olympics. The respect level. I already respected Jason a lot. He's a good friend, but next level for what he just did for the Olympics.
And hopefully it'll be something where, down the line, you come back 2028, right? He'll be able to come back and get his chance to shine like he should be, as the player that he is.
Big picture, though. Big picture. He'll be able to play he'll probably play in 2 or 3 more Olympics and, win MVP and do a bunch of other stuff. But for him on this team to be able to do that, incredible.
Coming up, PJ Tucker shares insight on one of the best teams to never win a title, the 2017-2018 Houston Rockets, going toe-to-toe with the Golden State Warriors at their peak, as well as his own title run with the Milwaukee Bucks a couple years later. We're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time, because Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets to first pitch. They've got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Look, I don't know about you, my least favorite thing when I'm buying tickets is you go through the whole process, you got your tickets picked, got your seats selected, all that stuff. You get to the very end, and then they price gouge you. They hit you with like the digital handling fee and the service charges and all these different miscellaneous fees that they rack up on you, and you wind up paying more in fees than you do for the actual tickets. That doesn't happen with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And continuing on here at Locked On NBA, where we're going to be diving back into our conversation with LA Clippers forward PJ Tucker. Now, look, you yourself, you've been on some incredibly talented teams throughout the duration of your career. Now, I know before we hit the record button, you were looking at the backdrop, right? I'm our Locked On Rockets host, right? So I'm Houston born and bred. I got all the Rockets back here behind me. I got the Olajuwon jersey. I even got a little James Harden Iron Man, kind of montage right behind my head. And even right here on my desk, I got a little friendly face, a little throwback for you. The PJ Tucker Shuru bobblehead. I had to bust this one out. So, look, I got to know, we got to start with that 2017-2018 Rockets team, right? Franchise best 65 wins, went toe-to-toe with the Golden State Warriors, took them to 7 games. What was that? What was being a part of that team like? What was that season like? And what was it like going up against Steph and KD at their peak?
I literally just had a conversation. Somebody asked me what was my favorite team that I've been on throughout my 19 years, and it was a battle because my 21 Miami Heat team was really special, and I love that team a lot. But the 17, 18 Rocket team is undoubtedly the best kind of collection of talent, where talent and friendship and camaraderie all just came together in this melting pot of a team, where we just, even in our off time, we were together, we hung together, we did everything together. The I've never been on a team that from top to bottom was so connected. Obviously the Chris Paul hamstring really hurt us, and was kind of detrimental to us losing. But to this day, still my favorite team to be a part of. And, even the entire time being in Houston on the Rockets was an incredible time. The city was buzzing. It was just incredible times.
And what was it like? I mean, just walk me through, right, fighting against Steph and KD in that 7-game series, right? I mean, obviously, you widely regarded as one of the best, most versatile defenders in the NBA. You played your fair share guarding KD in that series, the switch everything, defense, everything. Walk me through some of that.
Man, that was probably one of like 2 series I probably say where just totally exhausted, like everybody. It was we fought tooth and nail every game. We were on that team where we switched everything. So, from one possession, you literally would go from guarding Steph to Clay to KD to, it was just switching up, and they were doing the same thing. So that was for sure one of the grittiest, toughest series I've ever been a part of, and it was fun. It's funny even to think about it.
Now, not much further down the line, right? A couple years down the line, Russ is on the team, and then, mid-season, this trade happens, and Clint Capella's gone, and suddenly you're promoted full-time starting center. You picked up the nickname, Rockets fans gave you the nickname, the Tuck Wagon, in honor of Chuck Hayes, former Houston Rocket. What was your reaction to finding out that you were getting ready to play the 5 full-time? Obviously, y'all were still switching heavy, everything there. What was going through your mind at the time?
It was so crazy because Clint's such a good friend, such a great teammate. When that trade happened, and Coach D'Antoni, the one moment of that I always remember is when the trade happens. I'm like, who do we get back with? And Coach D'Antoni tells me, well, we did get a center. I go, so who's going to play center? And he goes, I'm looking at him. You're the center now. I literally found out like that. It was him joking, and Coach D'Antoni's hands down my favorite coach I've ever played for. His sense of humor he's hilarious. He's such a good coach. But his faith and belief in me to be able to do that in any moment. And we finished games like that sometimes where I would play the 5. And so he knew I could do it, seeing me do it. But just his faith and his belief in me and thinking I could literally do anything was pretty cool. And I actually enjoyed it. It was fun. That whole season was fun playing a 5.
And do you remember some of the memes and jokes that came from that, though? Because, look, man, you're 6'5", right? You are way bigger than the average person, but you're out there battling with 6'11", 7-foot-plus dudes. There was the one, I think Bleacher Report put you on stilts in a photo for one of them.
It was in stilts. One of them was in stilts, like backpedaling in stilts. One was me against Shaq. That was the funniest one. Me guarding Shaq. It was so funny. They did. I think it was a Bleacher Report that did the starting. Did you ever see the starting center?
Oh, the starting center. Yeah, and you're in the lineup with everybody else.
That picture, to this day, that picture's still one of the funniest pictures to me. I actually got it blown up in frame. Just because that moment in time, people were just all over me about that.
Now, look, so less than a year after the Tuck Wagon experiment, right, you get traded to the Bucks, and then that's where you won your title, right? You get traded to Milwaukee, in the second round of the playoffs, you get put in the starting lineup, and you help the Bucks win a title. How special was that run and winning your ring?
Oh, that was super special to go from the blown up Rockets where it kind of went south and we were about to start going young to going to the super experienced Buck team where, they're chasing what I've been chasing with Houston the last 4 years. To do that halfway through the season was kind of crazy. It was really crazy, actually, because they were super focused and starting to get locked in on the championship run and be coming in late, having to learn everything late and on the fly, and then end up really connecting and vibing with the team. It was really special, man. That was a really fun year for me.
Coming up, PJ Tucker talks about his relationship and playing alongside James Harden, Ty Lue's coaching style and what makes him unique, as well as his role with the Clippers this upcoming season. We're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Look, I love sports. I love them so much, I never really want them to stop, right? But when you got playoffs and stuff winding down and the Olympics are now over and you get fewer and fewer games and maybe the sports just aren't sportsing the way you want them to. Look, FanDuel lets you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime that you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That means there's something for everyone every day all summer long. Right now, you can head on over to FanDuel.com and take a look at the outright betting favorites to win the title this upcoming NBA season. The Boston Celtics favorites to repeat at plus 300, and then just behind them, the OKC Thunder at plus 700, the Denver Nuggets at plus 900. Also right there with the Nuggets, the 76ers and the Knicks, also both plus 900. So for all those odds and so much more, head on over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. And final segment here at Locked On NBA, we're going to be diving right back into our conversation with LA Clippers forward PJ Tucker. So right now, you're on the Clippers. This is the third team that you've been on where you and James Harden have been teammates. So, obviously Houston, Philadelphia, now the Clippers. You've played against him. You played with him. What's that relationship with James like?
Yeah, James, we just have a connection. Some guys throughout your career, you're just going to have a connection with that you just can play with anywhere, anytime. We go play at a church league right now against some, some older guys, and we'll still be able to have a connection.
Some YMCA pickup games.
Yeah, some YMCA pickup games when we're like 50. We'll still be able to go out there and play together. It's just the common language we speak without even having to say a word to each other and knowing how to play together. It's really good, So it's something I think they'll always be special because we've always had that connection.
Now, Ty Lue, widely regarded as one of the best coaches in the association. What does he, I guess, bring to the table that's maybe unique or different from other coaches that you played for?
I would say, and I didn't realize this. You don't know this as players until you get to a team. Guys talk, but you don't really know. I would say the number one thing is his drawn up plays and timeouts. He's one of the best I've seen. I think the Clippers got to have the highest rate of scoring, like ATOs and stuff like that. He's really good at drawing up plays and getting guys in right positions to be able to score. That's something I didn't know that I learned.
Kind of going back to earlier, right, when I asked you about the, Katie's, question about the randomness of basketball, right, embracing that. How difficult is it, when you're as a player, right, kind of, I guess, towing the line or maybe, listening to your coach between, running those set plays versus letting the random actions kind of dictate the game over the course of a 48-minute game?
Yeah, I think the really good coaches, they pick and choose. They have times where they need a set. We need to get a good shot. We need to get this person the ball. So they'll have the sets for that. But when you're on really good teams, you won't see Steve Kerr calling plays and stopping Steph when he's pushing the ball in transition to slow down and set up. Like you have great players, and you trust your great players to play great and do what they do.
Look, well, I got to know, I mean, for you personally, right, what kind of role do you envision for yourself just this upcoming season?
What I've always done, man. I've been a master of being a chameleon. Every year it's been different, different teams, different personnel, injuries. You have so many things that happen. The number one thing for me is always being able to be a chameleon, be able to do different things at the drop of a dime, being able to switch positions or whatever it may be, whatever my team needs that day or that period of time to be able to win. That's what it's all about for me.
Do you, at this point, in your career, do you have any, I don't want to say regrets, but maybe anything that you haven't accomplished yet that you want to accomplish? I mean, winning a title is like, that's number one on everybody, on the top of everybody's list. The one thing that stands out, at least to me, is thinking about the fact that you're one of the best defenders to have played the game, right? So versatile. And you haven't had an all NBA defensive team selection. It feels kind of like a travesty at this point.
Yeah, that's so funny you said that, because I would have said, no, there's nothing I want to accomplish. And I honestly, I rarely speak out about this, but I don't really respect even the way it's all voted and who has control of that, because I don't think it's a true reflection every year of even what players think who should make those teams. That's the one of those awards are the only awards of all the selections that I think should be done by coaches and people that actually know. I don't feel like, and there's no disrespect to any media person of not knowing who's good at defense and who's not, but guys that are in it every day in the field, know watching film, knowing what it takes to be a good defender, and who the best defenders. If you went and had a poll of NBA guys, it would pretty much be the same guys because everybody knows, So for me, that's never been something I hung my hat on, is winning a selection of awards from media or anybody else. I'd much rather have the respect of players in the league and people knowing what I do. So I take joy in that.
Now, look, I said we would talk about the sneakers here. We got to talk about the sneakers a little bit. Look, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert either. Look, I've got some Jordans. I've got some Hardens behind me. I've even got a pair of E-Tonics back here that I'm very proud of. I wear those on occasion. But where did your sneaker obsession come from? When did it start, and how did it grow into what it is today?
I've only known sneakers. Like it's always been my thing my whole life. With playing basketball, it was always, the shoes you wore. I grew up in North Carolina. Michael Jordan's been my idol my entire life. I've wanted to do everything Jordan did. I wanted to play Carolina. I wanted to play for the Bulls. It's just following Jordan. So with that, it was always about the shoes. And Jordan wearing Jordans in games. That was for me, wanting like high school, middle school, just wearing J's in games. And it just kind of grew from there. My obsession with sneakers has just been like a lifelong thing.
Do you remember your first nice pair of shoes that you got? Like your first nice pair of sneakers?
My first ever shoes were the Jordan 1s. I was born in 85. My mom bought me Air Jordan 1 Chicago's when they came out in 85. And that was my first pair of shoes. So it's kind of hard to go against that.
That's got to be, there you go. That's your GOAT pair right up there. Now, look, I'm sure we've all been there too, right? Look, if you're getting some work done around the house or whatever, and you're wearing your nice shoes, right? You see a bug coming across the kitchen floor or something, and your first instinct is to go step on it, right? That's what almost everybody does. And I know you've got a special program now for sneakerheads to take advantage of, so they don't have to do that anymore. Tell us what you and Raid are working on, PJ.
Yeah, you get to keep your shoes clean now by saving money on Raid. So you get to, instead of using your shoes, you can go on the app, take your app, scan your shoe. Your shoes will come up. You'll be able to get discounts on Raid products.
We've got a link, in the episode description right down there for anybody interested. Right, click on there. And I think there's their cool thing too, right? Is if it's it's something about if it's the smaller shoe size you wear, then the bigger discount you get. I like that bit too.
Exactly. So everybody with the small shoes get the bigger discounts.
There we go. Well, PJ, I'll tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program here with us today. I wish you the best of luck this upcoming season, man.
Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
That's going to do it for our interview with LA Clippers forward PJ Tucker. What was your favorite part of PJ Tucker's interview? Drop your comments in the YouTube section below. But as always, thank you so much for checking out the show. If you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing wherever you listen to your podcasts, or on YouTube, just search Locked On NBA. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, a 5-star review helps us out a ton. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. We look forward to having you back right here at Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts.